Welcome everyone, the weave wheels as it will, and the pattern has determined that we will be back for the Dragon Reviewed episode 5, and that's exactly what we're here to do, is review episode 5 of the Wheel of Time. I am Cam, that's Christine, that's Kyle. We're back again. If you've watched this before, you know the score. If not, we're kind of going to get into full spoilers right away once we've kind of given our grades. So just to let you know how it's going to go. And if you've never been on the GenreVerse or you've never checked out lrmonline.com before, tell us the good people why they should.
lrmonline.com is where you can get all your entertainment news, needs, opinions, celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel, and more. All of our podcasts that are available here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel and GenreVerse Podcast Network are available on the website as well. Subscribe on the YouTube channel because in addition to news and reviews podcasts, you get trailer and anime reactions, and that's pretty freaking cool. We're pretty much on all the big apps, Spotify, Apple, Amazon even, so check that out. And hey, there is merch down below. Don't have a Dragon Reviewed thing because I don't think I can use that symbol because it's really close to the to some of the actual things, but
stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what we might be able to do. Wheel of Time in the future.
We could just do the words. We could just do the words.
We could come up with something. I'll figure something out for season 3. But yeah, that's it. Follow, subscribe, leave thumbs up, comments. Thank you to everyone down in the comments the last couple of episodes, giving us encouragement to keep doing this and talking about how you enjoy these two. Not ascended. What is it? Accepted. I was in Dragon Ball Z mode. I was Super Saiyan ascended, but
God,
accepted. Level 2 people here. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this episode, Cam.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So we'll just kind of get straight into people's grades and kind of what you thought. Christine.
Oh gosh, I think I'm gonna give it an A. Yeah, it was really good. I don't really think I have any complaints. Nope.
Cool. Okay. Kyle, what were you? Where are you?
As I'm trying to correct, I got solo windows now. Hi, everybody. You can focus on this amazingness right here.
Yeah, just put it back to Christine, yeah.
Kiss ass.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I titled this review Thrilling Fun because I think that's what it is. I easily give it a good solid A. Lacking of like many things that, you know, when you want to hold on to your A+, when your name's not Nick Dahl. We haven't had a dig at Nick Dahl in a while, but when your name's not Nick Dahl, you want to hand those A+ or those 10s out of 10s out very, very sparingly.
Not everyone can like everything as much as Nick. It's just impossible. There's only room for one of those people in the world, and it's Nick.
Definitely. There were a few CGI / blue screen, green screen volume. It looked like they might even have or if not the volume itself, but
something like that.
Similar screen technology that they were trying to use. Perrin during the daytime specifically, when he was supposed to be on the edge of the water, looked real layered, if that makes sense to anyone that kind of knows about compositing shots. I just felt like there was some tell between the composite, the layers, but that might be me just looking for something, but it did look kind of wonky.
Just sometimes there's things like there was this scene where you have Nynaeve, she wakes up after being taken, and what is her name? I can't.
Liandrin?
Yes, thank you. Yeah. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there, but like you could see behind her, like the horses were like just really stiff, and it's like, yeah.
That's when they were in the ways, wasn't it? Like she woke up very slightly. She spoke to her. Yeah, I thought it was. I think they kind of almost had that in to just establish that's how they got there. You know, to make sure everybody knew that they had got there really quickly, not just through some other magical door that went straight there. But it was a strange scene, that one. I have to admit, and. You know, I didn't really notice the horses, but, you know, I did notice that it looked a little bit stiff at that point. But generally, it was a pretty good episode. I did give this one an A+, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Maybe it's something that's coming from a kind of book reader's standpoint. It was my favourite episode of the series so far, so I'm kind of worried if I get an A+, I won't be able to go above that. And I think there could be some contenders to, based on where the story's going, to surpass this one, to be perfectly honest. I'm really looking forward to, because I know a little bit about what happens next week. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing how everyone kind of reacts to that one. But we'll talk about that next week. So, yeah, I was in an A+. I really enjoyed it. I guess the favourite things for me were, it was kind of, we had the bad guys unleashed. Do you know what I mean? A little bit this week, you know, the veil was lifted a little bit, and especially Lanfear kind of just being Lanfear now and not the weird Celine person that she was kind of fake trying to be before. And I think you'd said, remember before, about, you know, I just don't get the chemistry between sort of Rand and Celine. And I think you see kind of now why, because, you know, in her mind, there is a connection there to the dragon that he doesn't quite understand, but she's also completely batshit crazy and evil, you know, and that's really her kind of true nature at this point. And as soon as she gets up, we just kind of see her just go into pure evil Darth Vader mode kind of thing. And I just really enjoyed seeing that, especially at the end when she's kind of like, get Rand tied up in like BDSM mode, and she's kind of sitting there, you know. That's Lanfear for me, you know. So
need one of those types of stands, huh?
Yeah.
I like the villain. Go, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Carry on.
I was saying I like villain stories when they're done well, especially when they get to be bad guys. And I'm eyeballing you, Sony, who wants to turn every Spider-Man villain you've got into some sympathetic anti-hero because you're afraid to actually have
you know,
bad
was
guys.
Spider-Man's thing though, and all his villains, even in the comics, all had something that happened to them that made them sympathetic, mostly. You know.
But their action, no one sympathized with Norman. No one really sympathized with Otto after he was given a chance to, like,
I guess,
you know.
not all so much.
But anyways, Christine's tapping me, telling me to make sure we stay on time.
This isn't DC. This isn't Marvel. This isn't any of that. We are on fantasy.
So I do appreciate bad guys getting to be bad guys and show them reveling in their bad guy-ness and Ishmael and
Lanfear.
Celine Lanfear.
Lanfear.
Lanfear. There we go. Lanfear. Okay, there we go. And Lanfear, getting to see them like kind of play with each other, so to speak, and I don't mean in the sensual way. I mean in a who keeps switching prey and predator type way. So I thoroughly enjoyed that stuff most of all, and the big martial arts fight with Heron and his new female Chewie. Who apparently is willing to do more with him.
The Aiel.
So, yeah, there it is. What about you, babe? What'd you like this episode?
I don't know. I really liked trying to think, like, with the whole abduction and you know, just seeing them fight, and I honestly thought that Nynaeve and the rich girl, I never remember her name.
Elaine.
Redhead.
Elaine.
Yeah. Her, like, I seriously thought they were in big trouble. So that was like a really cool surprise for me.
Well, when they kind of get captured, but it was actually a yellow Aes Sedai's warder that had captured them. Yeah.
I was like, oh, girls, you're screwed. But I was like, oh, never mind. It's just Egwene that's screwed.
I guess I was less surprised because I knew that it had to be Egwene and not the other two that get captured, because that's where the story goes. So it was kind of less of a surprise to me. But I get what you're saying. You know, if you don't know that's coming, it's absolutely a bit of a shock.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm kind of excited to get to next week in some ways and see, because we'll get to see how things are from Elaine's Egwene's point of view now that she has been captured and had that collar and leash put on her.
So I got a question.
Severe, isn't it?
I got a question, and hopefully it doesn't require you to spoil anything. But the way their nanotech collars work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did they weave all of those particles really tightly together, or are they just not? Like, is that explained in the books at all? That mechanism where it was something tiny and it spread out without her continuously feeding it stuff, or is this
Not
just
necessarily
a TV
in the same
thing?
way, but it's a piece of technology that's not from their age. It's from the previous age that we saw little glimpses of, where they're flying about in cars and stuff like that. So it's like, but technologically more advanced than our civilization, because they also had the 1 power at that time, so they could actually make stuff with a 1 power, really powerful things.
So it is. So it is magic
something that
nanotech.
it kind of. I mean, it's not exactly described like that in the book, but it's described that you can't just like take it off. There's no easy way to take it
like,
off.
Who raided Tony Stark's BDSM closet? You know.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. I liked it because it kind of made it visually that it's
sorry.
not just a clip that they put on, because you would think, well, why can the person not just reach up and take it off themselves, because it's something to do with the 1 power. But I think we'll understand a lot more about how that system works, because they'll explain it more next week, I'm guessing, because that would be the kind of appropriate time to do that.
I mean, was there... No, I'm good. Carry on, Kim.
That's fine. I guess, so we now, I mean, I look at you like that. I love the kind of interactions between Lanfear and Ishii, kind of, that back and forth, and that we know that although ultimately they serve the same master, like most evil people, they also have their own goals and ambitions. But they're also both in their own way obsessed by Rand, and you can see that by the way Lanfear kind of appeared as Rand in the bed, and a few people are like, is that a sexual thing? Is Ishii kind of into Rand in that way? I don't think so. I think it's just that's who he is obsessed with for different reasons.
Coveting Rand for, like you said, a different reason.
I mean, he did say in this episode that he thinks the dragon will have joined them by the time something happens. They'll all be working together, and that'll be it. So he's very confident of Rand kind of going his way at the moment. So we'll see how that story goes, but that would be a short series. But no, I really, really enjoyed that, and what I also loved is that this is the first time we're introduced to Tela Anriod, which is a bit of a mouthful to say, but you'll get used to it, which is ultimately the dream world. We really haven't explored that much. We've seen it little bits, like in season 1. People would invade other people's dreams, and we didn't really kind of understand when about it. But that is a key power, and Lanfear is the master of the dream world.
I called her Frederica Kruger.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's kind of like other people can access it, and we'll see more as the series goes on for sure, and we'll learn more about its rules and everything like that as it's appropriate to do so. So I won't say anything on that, but I will say that Lanfear is the master of that realm, and that should always be borne in mind depending on what happens going forward. But it's a cool aspect of the books that I loved when they get to use that, and it's always kind of interesting to see how will that work in visual. And we've only seen little glimpses of it so far, but we can see how things can be changed sort of very quickly. And it'll be interesting to see what happens between Lanfear and Rand next week, because that's kind of show only. So I'm surprised and curious to see where that one goes as well.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious on it, because it was said that with the amount of time that Rand has spent with her, I'm wondering, like, as time goes by, there's like maybe less of a connection, so it could be a little more difficult for Lanfear
to access his dreams and stuff like that. You mean?
Once he's kind of aware, maybe he can fight her off. I think
that there are definitely ways that in the Age of Legends, for example, that people would have been able to stop other people coming into their dreams and things like that. But Rand doesn't know any of that at the moment, and neither does any of the Aes Sedai really at this age. It's kind of almost like a forgotten skill at this point. But that might change going forward. But for the moment, they don't really have any defense against it. We'll see how that kind of shapes out in the show. And obviously we found out as well that Liandrin is not kind of perhaps misunderstood in any way, but really is a dark friend, and that there's potentially dark friends all around the place, and we just don't know who they are. We get the first mention of the Black Azure as well, which is the kind of rumoured Azure that are all dark friends, and how's that all going to work, and who's going to be a dark friend and who's not. So I guess we can talk a little bit about the kind of clue that Liandrin was a dark friend, because she actually broke one of the 3 oaths earlier on in the season. She lied to Matt.
Yeah.
If you remember, when she tells Matt about the letter, she says there's no mention of Matt Cawthorn in the letter, which we know there was because it was read later on, and it says, and Matt Cawthorn from Matt at the end. So that was a little kind of clue that for some reason she can lie. Now, we don't know why yet, and I'm certainly not going to get into that, but for some reason, it seems Liandrin does not at the moment have to follow any of the 3 oaths. She could use the 1 power against her fellow Aes Sedai in a bad way. There's a clear intention there to hurt them, which there wasn't when they were just training and stuff like that, which is kind of different in their minds. So there was a few little clues about that, but
see, guys, intent matters more than words themselves.
Yeah, and you can probably go back and see several lies, and even this episode we see her lying quite plainly to Varen, who's asking questions about the 2 girls in the tower. What did you think of Varen on her little investigation trail in the tower? What did you think of that kind of little side of the story?
I think it was really cool. I really liked it. Although I thought it was funny that Liandrin really sucks at acting. Like, it was like so painfully obvious that she was just full of shit. So yeah, like just one of those things. But now that you mention about the lie, that kind of puts this into a different perspective. Because for me, I was just like, is this like a Reds thing where they're just assholes? Like, so
there might be an element of that depending on how you look at it, because I think over the years they have become a bit, they don't take warders, they're a little bit different from everybody else, and they hunt men channelers. I guess that gets to you after a while when you're basically almost like teen genocide. I know it's not quite that, because you're going out and targeting specific people and they don't kill them, but they kind of kill them because they all end up committing suicide afterwards anyway. So it's it's a bit of a death sentence. So I guess that does get to people after a while, but that doesn't mean they're all serving the dark, though. Certainly not.
Well, yeah, and I figured that, but it was just, that's why I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, man, this woman. But yeah, so
actually, Liandrin was a lot more one-dimensional in the books. It's like really quite obviously when you find out she's a dark friend, it kind of doesn't make any sense. I really liked how they gave Liandrin a lot more character in the show and spent time with her, because it made her her almost betrayal of Naive, who she genuinely seems to like Naive in some ways, but it made her betrayal of her kind of seem more worse, if that makes sense, because they had built a bit of character up, whereas kind of when it happens in the book, they're just like, oh, knew that was coming, kind of thing.
I'm still curious as to whether or not she's just an out-and-out bad person, someone that's trying to play both sides long enough to see who will come out on top and will side with whoever they need to, if possible, or if they're ones that or if she's actually, playing double agent with the purpose of being on the side of the light and the end. And with the whole kid thing, that's what her ultimate goal is, either extend her son's life, or they go the other way, like a Highlander, which is let me die, let me age or whatnot. So it's like, how selfish does she end up being in the end? And I don't really know which way it could go, but I'm not 100% sold on her just being a dark one or a dark friend just to get her kid back, or to end her own longevity. Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
I guess we don't quite know in the show yet what her motivations truly are. We have little hints at them, but and it's not even some we can say, because the book character is quite different, so we can't automatically assume that her journey in the show will match exactly what it is in the books. because there's been quite a lot of differences so far already. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what will happen with Liandrin.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting like Darth Vader, and I was wondering like maybe if she would like, you know, go back to good like right before dying or something, because you know
self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
As long as she doesn't say no. I hate you, George Lucas. I really do sometimes, man.
No, I regret bringing it up.
Welcome to the Cantina, ladies and
last
gentlemen.
kind of point I wanted to bring up, and then we'll get any kind of just any theories or wrapping anything up that you guys want to say or any negatives. But the Aiel, what did you talked about a little bit at the start, Tel, which is Avienda, and we see her, you know, in our fighting skills, and we learn a little bit more about the Aiel as well. Like Perrin says, they come from the west, but Avienda says no, we call it the threefold land, and she explains its purpose a little bit was to kind of shape them, test them, and prepare them, and also punish them for the sin, which is something that they can't actually remember now what it actually was. So they're kind of like this warrior society, and a lot of people have said they're very similar to kind of the Fremen in Dune that way. And I think there was probably a little influence on that side of things. But I think other than that, it all goes in a very different direction. So that's not much of a spoiler in any way. But I really liked Avienda. I loved the way she talked, which was just like the books, you know, the way they talk. They've got a different kind of culture, different kind of humour from the wetlanders, as they call them, you know, because the way they value water, you know, cause it's completely different to the way people on the other side of the world do. So what did you guys think of that? Any issues with it, or were you kind of cool and happy to learn more about the Aiel?
I kind of want to learn more because I just found her, you know, a bit confusing, like just kind of wanting to know what she is about. She just kind of came off as weird, especially like the conversation after they get out of the town. It's just
it's a slightly strange conversation. Odd. Yeah, they are a little bit odd. They are, you know, and at first when you're reading the books and they come up, you're a bit like, you know, what's this? But you will end up understanding it and kind of, I think, enjoying it as it goes forward. We meet more Aiel as we go along.
I'm always down with good fights, and while it was dark, it's not the necessarily like best cut fight. It's no like Daredevil fight, but it was a good fight. It was a fun fight. And I'm down to see more. I'm not like super invested in the character or anything yet, or like super curious, but I'm here for the ride.
Yeah, cool. Any kind of negatives or anything that you want to talk about this week?
Not really. I didn't really have anything. I think the majority of this flowed well, went well. Sure, you can nitpick at some acting here or some CGI compositing, editing even here and there. I don't even think I've had to complain about unnecessary lingering shots in this series as so much. Cam, I haven't yet.
No, I don't think. Certainly, maybe the first episode there was a little bit of that, you know, but it's kind of dropped off.
But you know, it's those little things and the lack of something super special for me as someone who hasn't read the books that kept it from being an A+. But no, I don't really have too much.
Which is understandable, to
say. Yeah,
I get that.
I think my only gripe, now that I'm thinking about it, the Moraine's nephew. I don't like him. I don't like him.
His hair, his clothing.
Oh God, his hair was terrible.
It's okay to just not like a character. I don't think he's put there to be likable, but
yeah, like where he served his purpose. But you're looking at him like what? But yeah, like that was the only thing.
I'm interested to see where they go with that, because it's going to be a slightly different story from the way it worked in the books with them, but you know, it could go some similar ways as well, so I can't say too much. But I mean, I'm interested to see how that one's going to all kind of play out in the end and link into the rest of the story going forward. Be interesting. But yeah, I don't like Barthany's either, which I think is absolutely fine. You know, some people are just dicks, aren't they? You know, you just got to come across characters
you just look like a jackass. And yeah, like I'm also wondering, like, is he even gonna get married? because I'm wondering, like, with the scene, like, with Moraine and Rand.
Power too.
Well, I'm just saying, like, is there going to be, like, chaos going on? Because Moraine came back, and it was just like, you just put them in danger.
Yeah.
Why aren't you still running? Why are you cleaning up? You need to leave, you know? So, yeah.
I guess at the moment, Moraine's banking on the fact that although I think Lanfear would kill her in a split second without a second's hesitation, that she won't do that with Rand, you know, at the moment. So I guess we'll find out where it goes. I'm genuinely not sure how it'll all work in terms of the story. It has veered off from the books quite a bit, but I think we'll get the same people have the same motivations and they're going in the same places. Any other kind of theories that you guys have got for where we can go next?
I think we covered them all throughout the discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to next week again, but you know, it's been great to hear both of you thoughts again as non-book readers, and you know, it's glad to hear you give all the high scores as well, because I think we've all been in agreement that season 2 has been a lot better so far, and that's the kind of same feeling I'm getting online when I speak to fellow book readers. Everybody's like, this is so much better now. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm kind of excited about the changes, because now there's things that we don't know the answers to as well that we're kind of waiting to find out as well. So
Rings of Power, what?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see could they do the same with Rings of Power and bring it back from a stellar second season. I don't know, but you know, we shall see. We shall see. I'm less convinced on that one. Well, that's it then. Any final words from you guys?
Like, share, subscribe, check out merch, links in the description box below.
Other than that, we will be back next week for the Wheel of Time episode 6, and we'll get close to the end now. So see you next week, guys, and thanks very much for watching the Dragon Review.
Bye.